First Vostro laptop to get the Intel 12th generation of processor, which should easily beat the M1 processor itself, and the performance should come close to the M1 Pro at least. In just a 65,000 laptop, how is this possible? Let me break it down for you. This laptop is having a 12-core 16-threaded processor with high performance cores and high efficiency cores, but the performance here won't even come close to a 6-core 12-threaded AMD CPU. At least in this particular laptop. I don't know what is wrong with it, but let's talk about it. This laptop is a combination of a great display, amazing battery, and an acceptable performance. We'll be attending every single point that you can see on your screen right now. Let me just get on to the first one, and that is the design of this. On the back, we have a premium aluminum design with the Dell logo embossed in it. On the sides, we have the front tapered with the wedge shaped at the end of it. The laptop rises a little to give you a better cooling performance. Oof. When I talk about cooling on this, the laptop fans are so lazy that they won't even start up. More about it in the performance. When I open it up, the first problem solved from the 5625 is that it can be opened with one hand. Ignoring that, we are welcomed with a beautiful screen which is a 16 inches. It is really good to look in person. Moving a little bit down, we have a full-size keyboard with good amount of spacing, decent heat travel. Its backlit has 2 levels of brightness, and here is how it sounds. Trackpad, the size is good but not a pleasing quality. Let me just move on to the next part, and that is the build quality of this. The whole laptop is made out of a premium aluminum. The hinge quality is good and can be accepted. Top lid has a little bit of flex. Keyboard has a negligible amount of flex. Screen wobbles a little, but this is not at all a problem. You can use it on your lap while sitting on the couch. The next most important thing that I want to discuss is the display of this. For the display, we have 1920 by 1200 pixels, which sums up to 16:10 aspect ratio, FHD plus, anti-glare, max peak brightness of 250 nits, 45% NTSC, 60 Hz of refresh rate. With wide viewing angle, this is a really beautiful display to look at and enjoy your Netflix and chill. The extra real estate gives you an immersive experience with your laptop. The next one is the performance and specifications, and this part is really interesting. For the processor, we have the i5 12th generation, which is a 12-core 16-threaded processor, has 8 high-efficiency cores and 4 high-performance cores. What is this high performance and high efficiency? High performance, which means whenever you are using an intensive task, the high performance core will be activated. Whenever you are using the basic everyday use, the low performance cores, that is high efficiency cores, will be activated, and your power consumption will be less. And by this, they are achieving what is called as an amazing battery life in a small celled battery itself. But the problem is, this laptop is not even coming close to a 4-core 8-threaded processor in some of my testings. For the RAM, we have 16 GB on board, 8x2, upgradable up to 32 GB, and the clock speed here is 3200 MHz itself. This is really good in my opinion, and actually for the 12th gen processor as well, it is really good. For the storage, we have 512 of NVMe SSD, and the good thing is there is an empty Gen 4 NVMe SSD slot which you can pop in a Gen 4 NVMe SSD. If you want the top 5 Gen 4 NVMe SSD, there is already a video on it. Please do go ahead and check that as well. For the graphics, we have Intel Iris Xe graphics, which has an 8 GB of shared memory with the CPU itself, which is really good in my opinion. And all of these specs are really good. The 12th gen processor, 16 GB RAM, 512 SSD with Gen 4 accessibility, everything is great. I accept 100%. But what about the performance? Take a look at this Cinebench score. I did not test it once, but I tested it multiple times at multiple time frames, early morning, at room temperature, in the AC, without AC, with the charger, without the charger. But in any sort of condition, I was not even able to achieve 100% of CPU usage itself. I don't know what is wrong with this particular model. I'll be testing a different model from the different store as well, but this laptop is not giving 100% of its performance. If it gives 100% of its performance, there is an unbeatable potential in this 12th generation of processor. But in reality, it couldn't even come close to a Ryzen 5 5625U. The score is right on your screen. Take a look at the side-by-side performance. The Intel is even suffering to cross the 2.5K mark itself. So this is the performance history of the 12th gen processor. The next most important part is the battery life of this. Putting it on the test, every time I did a heavy usage task, it was losing 4% of its battery and it lasted around 3 minutes. Doing a simple mathematics, it should easily last up to 6 to 7 hours on normal usage, basic work, and if you are doing hardcore video editing or software designing, it will last you around 3 to 4 hours itself. That is the story of every other laptop except the MacBooks in this modern world, so no complaints at all. Let's get to the last part, and that is the ports on this. On the left hand side, you have charging port, which is followed by an HDMI port, which is followed by an USB Type A. This is a Gen 3 used for high data transfers itself, which is followed by a Type C. This is not a Thunderbolt port. On the right hand side, you have the audio jack, which is followed by a LAN port and an USB Type A as well. And you have a full size SD card reader, which is really good in my opinion. So this is the story of the Intel 12th generation 1240p. Catch you guys in the next one. Until then, take care.